Friday night in chilly downtown Hartford, Connecticut, where the Houston Cougars look to earn a bid into the NCAA tournament. The league's leading scorer, Rob Gray, heads the Cougar attack, while Rodney Purvis, Jalen Adams, and the UConn Huskies are not ready to see their season end on this night. Can the Huskies begin another magical ride through the American Conference Tournament now?
Ball right, goes right, picked up by Ellis, a three! Good! 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 And Ryan Boatwright sends the Huskies to Saturday!
Huskies get it into Adams, full court heave. He hits! He hits! He hits! He hits! From midcourt, Jalen Adams with 8 seconds to go.
Welcome to Champ Week. You're watching the Frontier Communications American Men's Basketball Championship. And the final of 4 quarterfinal games right now. The 3rd seed Houston Cougars taking on the 6th seed and home court fielding team, UConn Huskies. So earlier today, number 1 seed SMU squeaked out a win over East Carolina. UCF rolled over Memphis, and Cincinnati rolled over Tulsa, setting up the final spot in the semis to be decided now. Alan Bestwick here with Coach Tim Welsh. Let's start with the UConn Huskies. They have had some magic in this tournament in each of the last 3 years. Can they do it again?
Well, they're going to need a lot of magic tonight because they are playing a very good basketball team. They struggled last night against a South Florida team that wasn't a good team. So they have to play a lot better tonight than they did last night. And Rodney Purvis was the reason they are even playing tonight. He did it from the perimeter. He drove the ball to the rim, and he needed to because Jalen Adams, his backcourt mate, wasn't feeling it offensively because of his ankle. And tonight, not only in the offense end, they're going to have to get down and dirty on defense against the dynamic duo of Houston, and these guys can go. Rob Gray finds a way to make buckets in transition off the pick and roll game, and then Damian Dotson is automatic from the outside, slashing, catch and shoot. These two guys will light it up for Houston.
2 of the top 4 in scoring during the conference regular season, Gray and Dotson. The 2 teams have played twice before this season. Houston won them both. Won the first conference game of the season in this building on December 28th, a blowout when Adams did not play because of a suffered concussion. The other, a very close one, played down in Houston on February 22nd. So Houston is the higher seed in the home whites. Despite the fact that UConn playing on one of their 2 home courts, they wear the road blue uniforms with the red and white trim. There's Purvis, couldn't get off to a hot start. Ball knocked out of bounds, it'll stay with the Huskies. Kevin Ollie's team has reached the final of the American Conference Tournament in each of the league's 3 years of existence. They've never been seeded higher than 4th. They were the 6th seed entering play that into tonight's game after a win over USF last night.
Early matchup, Damian Dotson out on the perimeter, guarding Rodney Purvis.
Kenton Facey, guarded by Kyle Meyer. Vitale couldn't get the tap, and a Houston rebound.
Good energy early by UConn on the offensive boards, but nothing to show for it.
Devin Davis, shot off the mark. Expect 15 in white to be a key factor for the Cougars in their success or lack of tonight.
Good post up, but he rushed the shot a little bit on the inside.
Anita Brima gets fouled as Kelvin Sampson looks on from the home bench here at XL Center tonight. Sampson, in his 3rd year leading the Houston program, 56-38 the record coming in. Of course, 2-time National Coach of the Year, and has this team playing some really good ball this season. So Rodney Purvis, the senior, who kept his season alive by pouring in a career-high 30 last night. Inside to the freshman, Christian Vitale, and the Huskies are on the board.
UConn doing a nice job of moving the ball and moving without the basketball on the weak side. A nice backdoor cut by Vitale.
Rob Gray, the leading scorer in the American Conference, defended by Vitale. His first shot doesn't go. Rebound, Anita Brima for the Huskies. Kenton Facey, double teamed along the baseline. Ball slips out of Adams' hands. 15 to shoot for UConn. They reset. Anita Brima off the mark.
Good job on a pick and roll on the outside by Houston. Throttling Purvis.
One of the things that Kelvin Sampson was most wary of when we spoke with him this morning, UConn's very effective pick and roll and how the Cougars would defend it. Here's Damian Dotson. Galen Robinson, Kyle Meyer, and Dotson. And a good shot for the start for Damian Dotson. That is a 2.
As good as it gets right there for Damian Dotson. He comes off that pin down screen just ready to catch and lock in.
Facey double team, finds Purvis, finds Mattel, finds the inside of the rim for 3.
UConn early making the extra pass. Kevin Ollie not happy though with Mattel playing to the crowd, not getting back, and Rob Gray takes him right to the office. And Kevin Ollie is hot on the sideline.
He just chased Mattel down that far sideline all the way to midcourt, shouting at him. Adams off the mark. Rebound by Davis. Meyer will bring it back out and reset. Rob Gray asking for the ball from Robinson. Dotson. Caught the inside of the rim, came back out. Facey. Had it knocked away, gets it back. Here's Purvis from outside. Off the mark. Dotson with the rebound.
Good aggressive defense on the perimeter, not allowing Purvis an easy look.
Meyer with the offensive rebound for the Cougars, and they'll get another chance. Gray to Dotson. Got it for 3.
Well, that's excellent offense by Houston. Patience on the offensive end by Rob Gray. A year ago, he would have not made that play, would have forced it. That time, dribble drive on the baseline, looking for the drift to Dotson.
Dotson already with 5 in this game. There's Facey. Could not get the short one to go. And stepping on the end line. And UConn's ball and a timeout. Back and forth we go. 2-point ball game just underway in Hartford.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Frontier Communications, official sponsor of the American Athletic Conference, and Volkswagen.
The XL Center in downtown Hartford, and the final quarterfinal game in the American Conference Men's Basketball Championship. The 3rd seed Houston and essentially the home team, the UConn Huskies, at a 2-point ball game to start with. The Huskies, again, have reached the final of this tournament in each of the 3 years of the conference's existence. But the Huskies, the underdog, though BPI does list this one as a close one, and Houston fighting to find a way off the bubble and into the NCAA tournament field of 68.
Well, the feeling there's a lot of electricity in the building tonight, and last night's win generated some excitement that maybe UConn can go on another magical run and somehow, some way get this team that's had a depleted roster and just a treacherous run of injuries throughout the season into the NCAA tournament. But they're going through a tough team right now, and Houston looks focused and prepared, and Kelvin Sampson's got a good game plan ready. I mean, they're going out and they're attacking Purvis on the pick and rolls. They're staying attached to him on ball side. They're not giving help off him, and then they're mixing up some zone as well.
So Jalen Adams to handle the ball here. Rodney Purvis started out directing the attack at the beginning. Adams off the screen. Brima called for the moving screen. And a turnover on the foul by the Huskies.
And Brima does that on occasion. He's setting that ball screen out a little bit too high. He's got to take 1 or 2 steps below the 3-point line just to give the guard a little bit more of an opportunity either to read it from the top, shoot it over the top. See, he's setting it out so far that he can't come off the pick and roll and shoot it from out there. So also got to stay established as well.
Just got coached up by Kevin Ollie on the sideline after being lifted from the game. Stephen Enoch into the game for the Huskies, and the ball into the basket for the Cougars. I believe that was Galen Robinson with his first points of the game, and it was.
You won't find much easier opportunity than that, and that was just zero defense by Connecticut in the interior.
Gray with a good anticipation of the pass and knocked it away, and the turnover created by the Cougars defense. Gray short from the three-point attempt. Huskies run. Robinson, well-established position, and Purvis ran right smack into him, and Purvis is down on the floor for the Huskies. That was a hard collision.
Purvis was flying up the floor, and he saw Robinson stand there. I thought he was going to try to maybe do that little sidestep or the Euro step around him, but he kind of lost his balance, and he just barreled into Robinson, and now injury issue. You see him, he's coming up, and look, he tries to avoid him. It looks like Robinson just kind of turned a little bit here. I'm not sure this was a good, yeah, it was a pretty good call. He did establish himself. He stayed strong, and Purvis, I think, was trying to slide to the left and just got caught off balance. He was going so fast that he ran right through Galen Robinson.
So Rodney Purvis, the senior, who lit up the XL Center last night with a 30-point career-high performance down on this floor. I'm trying to understand from looking at the pictures if he just took such a hard shot to his shoulder or his chest, or if they might have banged heads or what. But Kevin Ollie out there as the UConn medical staff also looks on. The UConn medical staff that has been way too busy for this entire season.
Can't say enough about how Rodney Purvis, the total complete game that he played last evening against USF. He and Jalen Adams, excuse me, have been just terrific all season long, and Kelvin Sampson gives him a hand as well. Barrows in there.
Kind of the side of his head hit Robinson's shoulder, looks like, and that could not have felt good. Purvis takes a seat on the end of the bench, did not go back to the locker room. Vance Jackson is into the game for the Huskies. And the Cougars look to build on a lead, knocked away by Enoch. And a scramble on the floor for the ball, and it is out of bounds to the Cougars.
Well, it was better recognition by Enoch of Houston's guards getting into the lane. On the previous possession, he just stood there flat-footed, and that's been the issue with Stephen Enoch. He has not been a good quality defender on the interior for UConn, but made a good play on that possession.
And so watching Rodney Purvis there, shaking his head and rubbing the side of his face. He obviously, that shoulder where his face hit Galen Robinson in a very solid part is what's the trouble for the moment. Davis slips going into the lane. And so the turnover. First turnover of the ball game for the Cougars.
Well, Devin Davis is finally healthy for Kelvin Sampson again, but he looks like he's a little bit too charged up tonight to play in this game. He's playing hard, but he's not going a little bit on both possessions that he got the ball on the baseline and on the box area. He went a little bit too far, fast.
Rodney Purvis going back to the UConn locker room. You hope that's not the way his career ends. His Husky teammates will have to have a lot to say about it. And we'll see whether he returns or not. That ball went off the foot of Christian Vital.
Houston's really hyped up right now. They know how big and important this game is and the energy in this building. And it seems like they're going a little bit too fast on the offensive end of the floor.
Robinson, Jackson just got an arm kind of hooked in there and will be called for the foul. The freshman from Los Angeles wearing number 5.
And don't get me wrong, you want to go fast, you want to go hard, but there's a time where you have to slow down a little bit in the half court and kind of recognize what's going on with your teammates and read the defense. And I think Houston's just a little bit speeded up right now in the half court.
Bert Khalid, 13 into the game for the Cougars also. Big man in the middle. got the ball here. There's Davis. Working on Facey.
Good D by Facey.
10 to shoot. Davis. Got it.
That time Houston took their time, and Davis just kind of slowed down, teed it up, and Facey needs to get tighter.
A little bit of a dry run for the Huskies. Over 4 minutes since the ball's gone through the hoop.
Kelvin Sampson continues to change defenses. Now in the 2-3, they're going to extend on the perimeter of attack.
Adams, around and out. Gray works the screen. Robinson on Facey. And Dotson. Robinson drives. High glass for Galen Robinson.
Galen Robinson very aggressive early in this game, and Kevin Ollie needs to discuss.
Timeout UConn as the Huskies on the short end of an 11-0 run.
Galen Robinson running the team with Rob Gray, looking for his own early, and no help on the backside by Connecticut. Issues defensively.
You were bouncing around between tournaments, how we got to this point of the day in the American. Shemi Ojale had the #1 seed SMU Mustangs sprint out to a 24-point lead. Then they had to hang on to beat East Carolina by 4.
East Carolina looked like they may shock the world, but just when it looked dismal for SMU, the superhero delivered, and Matt Williams played that role as well for UCF with Taco Fall on the bench with deep foul trouble. He just teed it up from downtown, and then Cincinnati did what they do. Cronin's Crew. I like the new name.
Yeah.
And they answered the bell in the first round.
3 players over 15 points, led by Kyle Washington. And that sets us up to this point in the day. Here comes Rodney Purvis back out of the Husky locker room after being checked over there by the medical staff. And so Purvis rejoining his teammates. And we'll see at what point he's allowed to rejoin the game. In fact, he's just gotten up off the bench and he's walking to the scorer's table to check in.
I was about to say, if he is healthy, he is going in now.
You kidding?
if not sooner.
After pouring in 30 last night.
Well, just their lack of depth and experience. I mean, he and Adams will not come out of the game unless there's a health issue or foul issue.
0 for 5 shooting, 3 turnovers on their last 8 possessions, making another one for UConn. Chicken Knowles into the game, 0 for Houston.
One of the underrated things about Houston is their defense, and tonight it's feisty early.
Gray with the spin around.
Over the years, talk about Rod Gray and Damian Dotson. Everyone says, oh, the dynamic duo with the points, the this or that, and certainly that's deserved. But Kelvin Sampson's defensive schemes are special.
From outside, and the scoreless drought is broken by Vance Jackson.
Kelvin's not happy either that they let Jackson tee it up from downtown. You've got to make him put it on the floor.
5 minutes and 40 seconds without a point for the Huskies. To shoot. Gray pulls up for 3.
That's why they need to get Rodney Purvis back in this game immediately. And if this goes any longer, I call a timeout just to get him back in the game. He's that valuable.
Cantor Facey off the mark, and a foul is called. That was on Damian. Is that on Dotson, I believe? So free throws upcoming, and we will see the substitution wave in between free throws for both teams. Check that. That was on Kyle Meyer. They called the foul. 33. Thank you. I saw 3s up there, but there were 2 of them. Right? 2 and 1. So Devin Davis back in, Amita Brima back in, and Purvis is coming in for the shooter, so he will have to wait for the second free throw if it's successful.
Well, Alan, Kenton Facey's very, very important for UConn tonight. And obviously defensively gives them that presence down low as a rebounder, but he has to get 8-10 points for them tonight. They have to have some balance because Jalen Adams is not going to go get 18 points because his ankle has been an issue as of late, and he's doing a nice job running the team, but they need some points from their front line.
And Facey was scoreless last night, 0 for 6 from the floor. He had 2 points from the free throw strike, but none of his shots from the floor went in last night. Here's Gray again. Right hand floater.
Well, that was an issue last night for UConn defending the pick and roll out front, and right now Rob Gray is taking advantage of UConn's weak coverage.
9 points already for Rob Gray, just halfway through this first half. The alley-oop, and Bryma with the put down. Davis to Meyer, back outside to Gray. Couldn't make him pay.
Well, Davis should have shot the ball. He got the ball all the way to the rim, but just the presence of Bryma had him dish the ball.
Adams off the mark. Kyle Meyer with the rebound. Here come the Cougars. Robinson. And a foul over the back on Devin Davis on the rebound attempt. So here comes, or here will come, it's not a shooting foul. So here comes Rodney Purvis back into the game. Just joining us, maybe flipping over after the end of Carolina Duke. Purvis, the side of his face colliding with Galen Robinson's shoulder. He went off to the bench, then went off to the locker room to be checked. But Purvis dumped in a career-high 30 last night in UConn's first-round win here in the conference tournament over USF.
UConn's going to have to do some special things to get Purvis open because Houston is ready to defend, but they're not ready to defend Vance Jackson. He's ready early tonight.
And a very quick timeout called after that slam by Kelvin Sampson.
Jackson has been a developing player for UConn. He rushed some of his shots last night. He's already made a 3 from deep, but here on the closeout, they're standing straight up. And Jackson didn't do this early in the season. He was basically a standstill shooter, but there you see the elevation and the ability to find an angle off the bounce.
So a look at the Frontier Communications American Championship bracket, SMU UCF, tomorrow at 3 Eastern on ESPN2. Cincinnati, who looked awfully impressive in their win over Tulsa, to face the winner of this one. And the championship game Sunday at 3:15 Eastern on ESPN, the last of the automatic bids to be decided before the NCAA Tournament Committee announces the field of 68. Can Houston or UConn steal a third bid for this conference?
Or,
it's generally,
or UCF.
Yeah, or UCF. That's true. Johnny Dawkins' team playing its best basketball here down the stretch.
They're back in their hotel saying, wait a minute, what about us? We're still alive.
Credit you. Kyle Meyer off the mark. Adams almost had it kicked away from him. But now we'll go in and whistle. No basket. Foul called on the floor on the initial shot.
Well, Kyle Meyer kind of rushed his offense down to the other end, and this allowed Jalen Adams to get out in transition. And I was wondering if they're going to call the foul, and this was the old delayed call. They called the foul on
Wes Van Beck.
Wes Van Beck after Bryma dunked it.
So Kyle Meyer goes out of the game. Bert Colley comes back in for Houston. And Adams looks to make the second of his free throws that doesn't go. Rob Gray tried to split defenders, got tripped, and will shoot. No, he won't shoot free throws. That'll be an inbound from the side.
Well, that time Houston mixed up their offense a little bit. They went with the pick and roll on the side, and Gray split the two defenders. Bryma showed out hard. Adjust some of their coverages with Gray. And He catches the ball on that wing, not allow him to the middle of the floor.
It's the second foul on Grima, so he's out. Facey's back in. Wes Van Beek, 12 into the game, and handles the ball almost. Vital almost picked off that pass. Gray, the front iron. UConn with a chance to try and close the 6-point deficit.
UConn doing a better job defensively, tightening up the inside, contesting on the perimeter.
From the corner, the freshman Vital for 3.
Oh, UConn, terrific recognition of the double team, the trap down in the low box. Facey does a nice job of pitching it out before the trap comes and tightens up, and then they reverse the ball and find the open shooter on the weak side.
That'll be a tied-up ball. And it will go over to the Cougars.
Now, Houston, they like to trap the ball down in the post, but they don't get a tight trap. See, Knowles has his hands down, which allows Facey to pitch the ball back out, and they do a great job. They have the floor spaced, and they move the ball before Houston can rotate to the shooter in the corner.
So 16 on the shot clock. After UConn has gone on an 8-0 run. With the patient slam.
Well, that answers the energy, and that time Houston did a better job of just understanding where the coverage was on the backside, and on the roll found the open man at the rim.
Jackson with the spinner.
That's a big-time move by Vance Jackson. Just took his time and shot right over the guard. He's got that big size over Galen Robinson, and just kind of backed him in and just shot a little fadeaway over the top at 6'8", over 6'1".
The freshman leading the way tonight for the Huskies so far. Vital with 8 points, Jackson with 7. Foul on Houston, leading us to a timeout. The Cougars in the first 4 out where Joe Lunardi's concerned. What are their options to get to the NCAA tournament? A look at our All-State Tournament challenge now. What do the Houston Cougars have to do to get into the NCAA tournament field of 68? A look at their strength of schedule. 3 losses outside of the RPA Top 100. Quality wins. How quality are those wins is up for part of the discussion. And so the simplest option to get into the tournament is that one. Win and take care of itself.
There you go. Hello. That's pretty simple.
Yep. Now, some of the other goings-on today to potentially help the Cougars get off of that first 4 out into the field. Rhode Island also in the first 4 out. They won today. TCU lost. Cal is playing now. Georgia lost, but Vanderbilt beat Florida in overtime. And more still to be told on that story.
You need a big 70-inch screen at home, and we can fill up a graphic of all the possibilities for the different teams. But the main thing for Houston is they're in the mix, and they're playing well tonight. They're taking on UConn's really good energy right now, and Houston has to make some adjustments, though, on the defensive end of the floor, and be careful with their traps down in the low box. They're trapping Facey and leaving people open on the perimeter. Facey's not really a big-time scorer. I think they can guard him one-on-one. I don't like that trap on any of the post players for Connecticut.
Houston's 13-0 run answered by a UConn 10-2 run. And a foul on Jalen Adams that has Kelvin Sampson shaking his fist in frustration. Just to pay off that point about Houston, one of the Joe Lunardi's latest update that literally just came out minutes ago says that Houston must beat UConn to stay on the board. If they don't win this game, they're out of any consideration for an at-large bid.
That makes sense, and obviously, you know, when you talked about their quality wins and Rhode Island being one of them, I think Rhode Island's going to be in the mix as well, and Vermont probably looks like, you know, they're going to have an opportunity to punch their ticket tomorrow, and we'll see what happens there, but they were undefeated in their conference, but mainly in this league and giving them the opportunity. They have to get through this, and then tomorrow, if they can get to tomorrow, then another big, big opportunity.
They will match up with 15th ranked Cincinnati, the second seed in the tournament. And a quick whistle and a foul. Was that on Jalen Adams? I believe it was. His first.
Getting through tonight is not going to be easy because Kevin Ollie has his team very ready to play. You can see it, you can feel it in the building, and offensively now they're starting to get after Rob Gray. They contained Galen Robinson a little bit better on the perimeter. Good job by Vitale on that play.
And look, while we're talking about NCAA tournament options, UConn is at 15-16 to start the night. We know that their chance for postseason play is to win this tournament. Spoken singularly.
Absolutely, and they feel good about their chances. There's no doubt about it because of where their feet are right now on their home court.
Yep. So that was Vance Jackson with the foul, his second. Lima also has 2 for Houston. Davis and Meyer have 2 apiece. Inside to Colley, stripped away. Adams anticipated the inbound pass. Purvis, and one.
Now this is Jalen Adams at his best. Feisty. Last night he didn't play with a lot of toughness on the defensive end of the floor. But here on the weak side, great recognition of the strip as Colley puts the ball down on the floor and then the push ahead. And this is reminiscent of last night, the attack from the wing by Rodney Purvis with the finish in transition and the foul.
Foul on Wes Van Beck, his second. Purvis shooting free throws. Gets the extra. Obviously has shaken off any ill effects from the collision with Galen Robinson earlier in the game that saw him leave the court and go to the Husky locker room for a few moments. 15-2 run for the UConn Huskies.
UConn's got a lot of blood in their eyes on this end of the floor right now. Houston could use a really good set, try to get Damian Dotson free, maybe on a pin down screen, or Rob Gray going to the basket for a driving kick.
Gray got it. That's a 2.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Rob Gray with the pick and roll, and Houston would be wise to keep going to that well.
Good anticipation by Bert Colley to knock that one out of bounds. It'll stay with the Huskies.
Kelvin Sampson's been coaching a long time, and one thing I know is that he watched that tape last night and saw that USF used this play a lot down the stretch to get back into the game. So Rob Gray can score a lot of points tonight unless UConn cleans up that coverage.
You notice that Kelvin's already lost the jacket and tie. Turnover by the Huskies.
There's UConn just going a little bit too fast. They're all of a sudden now they're amped up pretty high, and it's paid off on the defensive end and the offensive end. But when they're in the half court, they got to make sure they slow down and read the D.
Rob Gray with 9 of the last 11 Houston points. Here's Damian Dotson. The turnaround over Purvis, way off the mark. Good anticipation by Davis of the miss. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Houston with 11 to shoot.
He's over there. It's 1990. He's still in shape, and he's got the energy cooking, and his players are feeding out off his energy and the energy of the building. But Rodney Purvis right now is playing excellent defense on Damian Dotson.
Rob Gray was trying to get Kevin Ollie away from him where he's going to inbound the ball. Off the mark from Robinson. Adams takes the long bounce. The Huskies run.
That's a bad shot by Robinson.
Purvis. Gray can't answer. That's going to be a foul on Bert Colley and Houston.
Rodney Purvis had a little bit of a siesta in the locker room just to kind of get his wits back after he got floored and got hit in the shoulder, but First on the defensive end, he's locking down Damian Dotson. Now pulling the trigger from his favorite spot, that left corner.
6 points for Purvis in his 11 minutes. And now Stephen Enoch, a sophomore from Norwalk, Connecticut. Enoch playing about just under 12 minutes a game. Last night played 13 minutes, had 6 points, every single one of them from the free throw line. Only attempted 1 shot from the floor. But got to the line often in helping the Huskies beat the USF Bulls. Largest lead of the game for UConn at 5.
They're back in the lead now because of their defense. They are playing rock tough, up in your face, deep.
Robinson slipped, had to regroup. 4 minutes to go, first half. Rob Gray knocked out of bounds by Houston. And a timeout, just under 4 minutes to go. The Huskies have the home court rocking.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by One A Day Men's and Women's.
Alongside Adrian Branch, I'm Brendan Fitzgerald. Coming up on the Audi halftime report, we'll have a first half breakdown of this one between UConn and Houston. Also, the top 2 seeds in the American Conference. Hold serve. What have you seen so far?
UConn playing a home game with that enthusiasm, the 6th man of the home crowd.
Tough place for a bubble team like Houston. Back to you guys. See you in a few.
All right, Brendan, thanks. The New York Life ACC tournament. I mentioned the Duke win over Carolina. Blue Devils way behind in that one earlier tonight in Brooklyn. Came back for the win. Notre Dame and Florida State playing now over on ESPN. Rodney Purvis got hurt earlier in the game when he ran into Galen Robinson, face to shoulder, went to the locker room, came back in, and since he's returned to the game, the Huskies have gone on an 18-4 run.
Well, Rodney Purvis not only showing a lot of toughness by coming back in the game, but confidence, energy, leadership, and then on the defensive end of the floor, just doing a tremendous job taking on the challenge of getting up in Damian Dotson's face, one of the best scorers in this conference. And now Houston is a little on edge. They're uneasy on the offensive end, and then defensively just a step slow with their rotations. And they just have to settle down a little bit, and they can get back in this game. But yeah, I think they've let a combination of UConn's intensity and toughness defensively and this crowd get to them.
There you see some of the runs from both teams in opposite directions at the moment. And remember, Houston pulled out to an early lead. Biggest lead in this one. They led by 11 about halfway through this first half. Now just under 4 minutes to go. Huskies with the ball and a 5-point lead. At stake for Houston, a must-win to keep their hopes of any at-large bid and an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament, for that matter, alive. UConn, nothing to lose. Trying to make another magical run through this American Conference tournament, where in 3 prior years they've never failed to make the final. Purvis gets his own rebound and a new shot clock for UConn. Adams swatted away by Chicken Knowles, and a turnover. Dotson knocked away. Vitale got a hand right on the ball. Here's Gray. Short.
Well, Gray didn't get any legs into that shot. He was so wide open. I think he just kind of took his time and didn't explode.
3 minutes remain. First half, XL Center in Hartford. Alan Dester, Tim Welsh, our ESPN college basketball crew with you. Terrific ball game so far. Rodney Purvis off the mark on that one with the save, but right to Rob Gray. And a foul as Gray put the brakes on, and his anti-lock braking system worked well. Kenton Facey ran into it.
Well, it's good that he drew the foul, but I was wondering why he slowed down. He had Dotson in the corner, and he had a 2-on-1 situation, but presence of mind to draw the foul, which is probably important to get another foul to Facey, and he gets to go to the line.
That is the first on Facey. Vance Jackson with 2, Amita Breimer with 2 for the Huskies. Van Beck, Davis, and Meyer with 2 fouls. Going into these final 2 minutes and 42 seconds of the first half for the Houston Cougars. You saw the numbers on Rob Gray. He averages 20.2 per game. He's got 11 of the last 13 points for the Cougars. They've not gotten Damian Dotson going at all in this game. To shoot. Purvis on Devin Davis. High glass.
That was special defense by Davis, but Purvis is just feeling it in this building this weekend.
Here's Dotson. He's got too far under the bucket. Knowles putback attempt. Knocked away.
Houston getting all the way to the finish line, but can't cross it. They're getting there, but just not being strong enough with the basketball. And here comes Adams.
That's a 2. Chicken Knowles around and out. Purvis manages to hang on to the rebound despite the attempt of Davis to take it away from him.
Well, you've been in this building many a night, Alan. There's 16,000 plus, and it gets loud. There's not near that tonight, but there's a lot of energy and buzz here helping UConn.
Foul called on Stephen Enoch. Had the little butt bump trying to work his way into the lane.
Devin Davis backed up, and the length of Davis gets up. A really good contest, but he's got that feeling going here in Hartford, and Amita Breimer, he doesn't want to put the shoes up yet.
Kevin Ollie was so excited when we talked to him yesterday before their first round game, because even though his team has had struggles and difficulties all season long and with injuries, it's March, it's the tournament time, and anything was possible, and he knows what magic his team has had in this tournament in its past 3 years.
It's nice that it's here as well, and you know that the fans were going to show up tonight after they got that win last night. And UConn went on spring break early today. They canceled school, but the students are here.
A 9th straight miss by the Cougars.
They're doing a good job defensively down the block. Davis got position, but not good enough to find an angle to the rim.
Kevin Ollie very animated, cheering his team on. Every offensive, every defensive possession, every whistle. Here's Facey. Robinson guards him, tries to feed it into Vital. The low pass fielded by the freshman, and he banks it in.
Again, good look by Facey. He was forced way off the block. They had a mismatch, but Houston sent the double at him. There's no reason to double him that far away from the basket. And then on the backside, Vital just face cut Rob Gray and made a difficult shot in the lane.
Final shot coming for the Cougars to try and close a 9-point deficit. Robinson off the mark. A 26-6 run by the UConn Huskies to end this first half. And they'll lead by 9, trying to keep their season alive. Let's go back to Brendan Fitzgerald and Adrian Branch in the studio for our halftime report. Welcome back to Champ Week and the Frontier Communications American Men's Basketball Championship from the XL Center in downtown Hartford. UConn opening up a 9-point gap on the 3rd-seeded Houston Cougars In the fourth game of the day, SMU squeaking out a win over East Carolina to start the day. UCF rolling over Memphis. Cincinnati rolling over Tulsa. And now that one last spot in the conference semifinals up for grabs. Alan Bestbakir with Coach Tim Welsh. Houston led this game by 11 halfway through the first half, but the Huskies on a 26-6 run to take the lead.
It was energy from their defense, and it turned into good offense. They spaced the floor, they reversed the floor, and Houston got caught a little bit doubling outside of their comfort area on the low box, and UConn played with just tremendous energy. They shared the basketball, they made open shots, but it was really their defense. And Houston's inability to get into any type of flow offensively, they kind of were speeded up right from the get-go. And at the end of the half, UConn just blitzed them with a combination of toughness, good defense, and perfect offensive execution.
So you see some of the combinations of what made that 26-6 run happen for the Huskies. For Houston, very, very cold shooting. And the importance of this second half. Joe Lunardi says the Cougars are currently in the first four out, but if they lose this game to UConn, they have no shot at an at-large bid. And of course, if they lose this game to UConn, then they have no shot at an automatic bid by winning the conference tournament. So for Kelvin Sampson's team, their hopes of an NCAA bid rely most immediately on these next 20 minutes of basketball.
They have to settle down on the offensive end of the floor. And Rob Gray made his plays. They have to get Damian Dotson going.
Jalen Adams tried for the alley-oop on Amina Brima, and Brima is going to pick up his third foul less than a minute into this second half.
The pick and roll on the top. Houston got caught with Robinson on Brima, and the idea was probably proper. They were trying to throw it inside to Brima to take advantage of the mismatch, but Brima pushed off.
Something else that has to happen here for Houston. We talked at the top of the broadcast, Tim, about the dynamic duo. Well, one of those two is not having a very effective game where scoring is concerned. That's 21 Damian Dotson. Evan Davis couldn't get that to go, but I believe that was a hand up through the basket, and a goaltending call is there. Damian Dotson in the first half, just 2 of 7 for the floor, 5 points. Kelvin Sampson told us this morning that one of the keys to the game for his Cougars was that they could not afford for either Gray or Dotson to have a dud, his word, dud, in this one.
They're going to have to help him out a little bit because Rodney Purvis is on lockdown right now on Damian Dotson.
Adams had the ball stripped on the way up. Gray on the run out. And a standing ovation from the Cougar bench on that one. Kevin Ollie up for the quick timeout.
At the end of the first half, it was UConn's ability to disrupt Houston. And second half, a little different story early. Houston trying to crawl back with the slam from Rob Gray.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Mazda, Driving Matters, and Angry Orchard Hard Cider. Branch out.
Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family. Let's go, man. Let's go!
Let's go!
The energy and emotion and impact of Champ Week continues through Sunday. Look at all the tickets still to be punched, major ones, all on the ESPN networks, including the Big 12, ACC, Pac-12, all on Saturday, and Sunday the SEC and the American capping the day with the championship game from here in Hartford on ESPN at 3:15 Eastern Time. Final quarterfinal happening now in Hartford. At 5-2 in the first half, Houston went on a 13-2 run to open up a big lead before UConn went on their big tear to close the half. Houston off to a fast start in the second half. Kevin Ollie with a timeout less than 2 minutes into the half. Jalen Adams with the bucket that couldn't right the ship for the Huskies so far.
Again, Houston gave up that wide open 3 after the double team, and there's Dotson wide open for the first time in a long time.
Second made 3 of the game from the 4th leading scorer in the American Conference. You see the 7-0 run. for the Cougars to start this second half. Adams through the hands of Facey, and a turnover again by the Huskies.
Kelvin Sampson obviously gave a experienced, spirited talk to this group at halftime to tell them to play with a lot more confidence because they have a little bit different look in the second half.
10 to shoot for Houston. Gray through the double team, out to Davis. Nice step away. Missed it wide left. And a foul. Stephen Enoch fouled by Kyle Meyer in the fight for the rebound.
Well, this is a good push by Houston to free up Damian Dotson. This is where Connecticut in the first half did not allow this. They found him early, both in the half court and in transition. They stayed attached, and that time Dotson just found himself wide open.
So the UConn fans trying to encourage their team. They've had 4 possessions and turned it over 3 times in this second half. Jalen Adams.
Adams has a little bit more pop in his step on the offensive end tonight than he did last night, and that's a good sign for Connecticut as Robinson takes it right back at him.
Galen Robinson. Into the forest, between the trees.
That's just unacceptable if you're Connecticut after a score and not get back and get your defense set.
Jackson cut off, gets fouled, trying to fight between the double team.
Jalen Adams playing with a lot more confidence on the offensive end and just splitting the 2 defenders on the high ball screen, and there's that great mid game, and then coming back the other way, Robinson just finds his way, and Enoch's got to step up there as a big guy and protect the rim.
So 3rd foul on Devin Davis. One of the key cogs for this Houston team, according to Kelvin Sampson. Missed 13 games during the course of this season. Came back in late January. But Sampson said that Davis only just this week in practice showed the form that he had prior to the injury.
You can take advantage of Amita Brano being out of the game because Stephen Enoch is not a good defender. If they can get Davis facing on that mid-post area, he can attack the rim.
Now Robinson, and there are 10 seconds to shoot. Gray from way outside, off the mark short. Facey will get it.
Good lockdown defense on that possession by Connecticut. Communication and length on the perimeter. Defending, not allowing Houston to get into the paint.
Maybe the Cougars not paying enough attention to how much time is left on the shot clock, too. Adams stops and pops.
That's bad news for Houston. He is starting to feel it on the offensive end of the floor.
So after the slow start to this second half, the Husky offense getting going, and a thrown away pass by Robinson. He and Gray miscommunicating on what they were going to do. Timeout.
This is the man that can take over this game and one of the best in this league, one-on-one, mid-range, Adams.
"48 hours from now, we'll know the 68 in the NCAA tournament field. Selection Sunday, 7 Eastern. Bracketology presented by Allstate. Our college hoop experts will have complete breakdowns of each region. We start with SportsCenter and Scott Van Pelt at 5:15 on ESPN with the reveal of each of the regions and teams as it happens. Will the Houston Cougars be included in that group? Well, their fate rests at first on the outcome of tonight's matchup here with UConn. Joe Lunardi says a loss tonight to the Huskies, no consideration at all for an at-large bid. They're currently in the first 4-out group. Right now, they are trailing by 6.
Well, really, the last thing Kelvin Sampson is even thinking about right now is the NCAA tournament. He's just trying to find a way to get into some sort of offensive rhythm for a consistent period of time. He came out in the second half and did it, but then UConn stepped up the pressure a little bit, and now they're having trouble corralling Jalen Adams as he's getting into the paint and creating for himself.
Foul underneath. That is going to be on Stephen Enoch, I believe. Indeed it was. He dropped Galen Robinson to the ground. I'm sorry, the other way around. It was on Robinson.
Houston's getting caught on some mismatches. They're doing a lot of switching out there on the floor with the pick and rolls, and caught with the littles on the bigs down low, and UConn's trying to take advantage. There's the switch again, and you see Robinson on Facey.
And Beck tried to anticipate the inbound pass to Facey. Bouncing around, out of bounds, looking for help. It'll go over to Houston.
There's better rotation by Houston. UConn tried to take advantage again of the switch as Robinson got caught on Facey on the box, but Facey never got that good low post position.
10th turnover of the ball game by the Huskies. By the way, Houston only had 2 turnovers the entire first half, and they were still losing. Here's Dotson. Robinson will get fouled on his way into the paint.
Well, again, Houston has to try to take advantage of Amita Brahman not being in the basketball game. They can attack, and right now UConn has their smaller lineup in the game. Enoch's going back in. He's going back in for Facey. Now they are not only small out there on the floor, but they're weak on the back line defensively. Enoch is a poor defender, and Jackson's better on the perimeter than he is around the basket.
That foul was on Vital. Dotson over Jackson.
He took advantage of the mismatch, and Rodney Purvis was not guarding Damian Dotson on that possession, and that's a big relief for Damian Dotson. He just came flying off that baseline screen ready to catch it and shoot it.
3-point ball game. Enoch gets away from Davis. It rattles around and out.
That was good offense by Connecticut. Enoch's just got to keep that ball high and finish.
Rattled off the rim, started to go down, took another bounce, came back out. Robinson has it knocked away from him. Turnover forced by the Huskies.
Good job by Adams. He dug in from the top, left Ray, but Robinson had his head down. He was determined to get to the rim. There was no way, there was no room.
Jalen Adams sets up the UConn attack. Meets the double team, comes back the other way. Finds Purvis for 3.
Jalen Adams is running this team perfectly out there at the point, just going from side to side, reading the defense. He saw Dotson cheating in, he found Purvis.
Galen Robinson saw a crease in the defense and went right to the rim. Rodney Purvis weren't with us earlier. Had a collision with Robinson, went to the locker room, came back. The Huskies much better on the floor with him, statistically, point total-wise, than when he was out of the game. Shot off the mark from Vance Jackson in the corner.
That time Houston was in a zone, and UConn never got into their set.
Davis, nice move into the lane by Devin Davis, the junior from Indianapolis.
Well, Allen, that is there anytime they want it, because Devin Davis can take the ball right at Stephen Enoch, and he cannot guard him.
Amita Brahman up off the bench for the Huskies. Lonnie Brooks and Chicken Knowles waiting to check in for the Cougars. From outside, Adams got a 3.
Houston, that was a mistake by Houston, leaving the basketball, especially with Jalen Adams in his mitts.
Gray rattled it around the rim and out on a wide open 3.
Adams did a really good job of just ball faking. You can't not leave the man with the basketball.
Adams knocked away from him by Dotson, but a foul.
Well, here Jalen Adams does a great job of just finding the open man. Damian Dotson gets kind of turned in, and Purvis gets him in the corner, his magical spot. And here, watch Adams. He just ball fakes here, and Dotson goes for the fake, and it's 2-on-1 on the weak side. They do a nice job of ball screening the top of that zone, and which allows UConn to get a little 2-on-1 advantage on the weak side.
Jalen Adams now leading the Huskies in scoring in this game. He's up to 12. Purvis has 11. Vital has 10. On the other side of the ledger, Rob Gray with 15. Damian Dotson now with 11 after the slow start for the Cougars.
Well, Houston is running much better offense here in the second half, but they still haven't figured out how to defend UConn. They're kind of off balance, and they're going zone, they're going man, they're doubling the post, they're switching a lot on the ball screens, and UConn is really taking advantage at every turn of Houston's mistakes.
Adam got that one to go. And so a 7-point lead. Houston 7 of 10 from the floor in this half. This is Armani Brooks, 3, the freshman, into the game. And Chicken Knowles working on Amita Brima. Brima with the block. Purvis the step back. Houston calls timeout.
Well, UConn finished the first half with a flurry. Houston came out with a little bit more energy, but they have been revitalized by their guards. And this man who refuses to go home, Rodney Purvis, feeling it in Hartford.
Previously on Champ Week.
It's going to count.
Unbelievable.
He knocked out the shot clock.
Samuelson. She was just remarkable today, wasn't she?
They rope it up the 1 seed. In the first year of Northern Kentucky's eligibility, they are going dancing.
What's going on here? I don't need that stuff. Are you kidding me? We got a game, homie.
And the Champ Week question to be answered within the next hour. Who gets the final spot in the American semifinals? The Frontier Communications American Championship with SMU, UCF, and Cincinnati winning their day's first 3 games. Now UConn trying to pull the upset on Houston and up by 9. Alan Best with Tim Welsh with you. Just under 12 to go at the XL Center, downtown Hartford. Houston with the ball. UConn on a 7-0 run in the last minute and 1 second. Gray swatted away by Brima. It'll stay with the Cougars with 9 to shoot.
You know, it's been different variances of the game of basketball that UConn has excelled in, and most of this half it's been the offense, but now Amita Brima back in the game. Good perimeter D, and then the awareness at the rim to slide over and resist.
Robinson, the long 3, bails the Cougars out.
Sam's going to go to their matchup zone. I think this is a good move. He's got to try to some way slow down Connecticut. But he must pay attention to both Adams and Purvis.
Brima feeds Vital.
So again, they go down and trap Amita Brima, and if they're going to trap him, they got to trap him for real. And that's kind of a side trap where he splits the middle and just has perfect open vision to the cutter coming down the middle, but great awareness by Vital to make the cut.
The freshman from Queens Village has a dozen in this game tonight. Dotson drives. Brima was there to cut it off. He missed the pull-up jumper. Midway through the second half. Adams fouled. Robinson got a shoulder in there.
Amita Brima went out with his 3rd foul, and Kevin Ollie got him back in the game, and Houston came flying down the middle, and he said, no, thank you. But here's the double, and it's really not a double. There's 2 men around Brima, one on his left shoulder and one on his backside, which allows him just to kind of turn into the middle and dumped that easy shovel pass for the layup.
So with 2 blocks tonight, Amita Brima continues to add to the 3rd best career total in Husky history. Adams to Purvis. Brima with the putback.
Well, it's been everybody for Connecticut tonight. They have had a complete team effort to get this 10-point lead.
Gray over Brima. Wanted a foul call, didn't get it.
Kelvin wanted one too, and he's barking over there on the sideline trying to get anything he can. It's a good move by Gray, though, to arc it above the shot blocker.
And shoot, Adams drives. Hits a Houston player. He was off balance when he tried to make the pass between white jersey players. There's Dotson. That was a little short. There was Brima to knock the rebound away. He knocks it out of bounds.
Dotson got squared up. They had a nice push on the steal up the floor, but UConn did a good job on the retreat, somehow sprinting back and getting a hand up in Dotson's face.
Well, for a while in the game, you'd say Rodney Purvis was the first star for UConn. Then you'd have said it was Jalen Adams. Now you might say it's Amita Brima in this portion of the game.
Absolutely, Alan. Everybody has come to play tonight for Connecticut, and it's been a total team effort. They have a great game plan, and they've attacked everything that Houston has thrown at them on both ends. Now offensively, Darren Robinson's done a nice job of kind of providing some offense with Damian Dotson not really in a flow.
Gray to Kyle Meyer. Back out to Dotson. Trying to free up a shooter. Single digits on the shot clock. Robinson drives. Tipped away. Ooh, players hit the floor hard. Brima was falling. Davis went over the back of him.
Now here's why Damian Dotson's having a rough night, because UConn has a perfect game plan against him. As they dribble drive into the gap, Galen Robinson takes the ball on the right side of the floor and he drives in, and Rodney Purvis does not leave and give any help on Dotson. And Brima, he's going to pop up, but he hit the floor pretty hard.
He was falling backwards when Davis tripped over him and almost forced Brima's upper body into the floor. Good to see him up and walking away.
He's up and walking, and his energy's been. But here you see on the perimeter, you see at the top of your screen, you saw Rodney Purvis. He did not leave Damian Dotson, and there's the bang by Brima. Just the extra effort.
So he will have to check out of the game. And Stephen Enoch checks back in the last 4 minutes of playing time. 2 blocks and 3 shots altered for Amita Brima. Eight-point deficit for the Cougars as they defend here. We're talking about first star and so on for UConn. Rob Gray has been the first star for Houston offensively. They've needed Damian Dotson to step up. Dotson now up to 11 points. Robinson has 11. Towel off the mark from 3. Dotson down behind the play, draws a whistle, and he will probably have to come out of the game because the game was stopped for him.
Well, Houston again, though, was very, very fortunate on that last possession. UConn created a little 2-on-1 advantage again as they reversed the ball against the zone, and Dotson kind of was playing in between. He went for Adams this time, and Adams had the presence of mind to kick it to a wide open Vitale in the corner who just couldn't deliver.
Judging by where he was aiming, his description, Dotson might have caught a sensitive area.
Nice move by Gray, though. Just keeping on the attack, and UConn has to be careful here because they have some explosive scorers, and Rob Gray will keep coming at you.
Yeah. 6-point game. Purvis Brown Van Beck tries to get it inside. Good save there. But a step on the end line by Stephen Enoch. And a timeout with just over 7.5 minutes to go. A very tight one in Hartford.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Frontier Communications, official sponsor of the American Athletic Conference, and Volkswagen.
Ball right, goes right, picked up by Ellis, a three! Good! 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 And Ryan Boatwright sends the Huskies to Saturday! Huskies get it into Adams, full court heave. May hit! He hits! He hits! He hits! From midcourt, Jalen Adams with 0.8 of a second to go.
That to send last year's quarterfinal game to a 4th overtime. Will there be more quarterfinal magic to cap the night here in Hartford for the home team, the UConn Huskies? Bracketology and what's at stake for Houston. They must beat UConn tonight, according to Joe Lunardi, to stay in contention for the tournament. Of course, if they lose, they automatically have no shot at the automatic bid. And he says if they lose this one, they're off the list of those considered for an at-large bid.
Oh, Rob Grace trying to keep Houston in it, kind of as a one-man band. He and Galen Robinson. And so get Damian Dotson somehow free. I think they have to set some screens for him. They did a nice job setting that baseline. Here's a stagger away, but Purvis does a good job.
Gray. Short. Meyer tried to get the rebound. Gray comes up with it. Robinson drives over the top of the leaping Hamida Brima.
Galen Robinson has done a nice job not only running the team, but looking for buckets in the lane and finishing in traffic.
To shoot. Patel with the ball. Ducks inside of Robinson. Shot would not fall. Scramble for the rebound. And a foul going to be called on Patel.
Patel made a nice move to find an angle, get all the way to the rim, just couldn't buy it. Meyer did a pretty good job of getting that rebound in traffic.
Now, note at the bottom of the scoring line, that's only UConn's 3rd team foul of the half, while Houston is at 6 and on the verge of sending the Huskies shooting free throws at every offense after that. Dotson. Left on the 3. That's going to be, I believe, Meyer on the foul over the back. No, that's on UConn.
Well, Houston got Patel guarding. I don't know what that is. I guess they have Brima on a little bit of a hook on Meyer. He had that left arm. It was hard to see from that angle, but he had the left arm kind of around Meyer's ribs, and I think that's where he got called.
So Brima, who's been such a force in this second half, goes to the bench with his 4th foul. Dotson too strong on the 3. Facey with the rebound for UConn.
Again, really good defense by Rodney Purvis on the contest.
4-point ball game, 6 to go. Spot in the American Conference semifinals tomorrow against the 2nd seed Cincinnati is at stake. For UConn, they have to continue their season with a win. Adams.
Jalen Adams tonight is getting where he wants to go with the dribble, and they're doing a good job of freeing him up, getting into that free throw area, and UConn's not rotating over to contest.
Adams got a hand in, knocked the ball away from Gray, out of bounds, off of Adams.
This has been Jalen Adams' go-to for most of the night, just kind of the dribble drive, the crossover, and on the ball screen, on the switch, Kyle Meyer has no chance against Jalen Adams.
16 for Jalen Adams in this one to lead the Huskies. 7 to shoot for Gray. To Robinson for 3. Back iron. Meyer tips it back out. Cougars get another chance with a fresh shot clock. Gray attacks and will draw the foul. Well, the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship, Iowa State against the winner of West Virginia, Kansas State. That is a close game ongoing at the moment. Championship Saturday, 6 Eastern on ESPN. Part of a huge day of championship deciding games on ESPN. Jalen Adams getting a quick rub down from the trainer on the sideline while Gray shoots the first of his free throws.
Again, that's pretty good recognition by Houston. Understand that Amita Bryman is out of the game, and they have to take advantage if they want to get back involved in this contest and score offensively in the lane. Or just on ball reversal, try to take advantage of angles to the rim.
Chicken Knowles had a chance to pick up that rebound off the miss. Couldn't do it. 5-point lead for UConn with the ball.
Knowles tried to dribble it just instead of securing it with his mitts. If he would have had a dunk.
Jalen Adams averages 35.5 minutes a game. Last night he played 39 in the win over USF. Five to shoot. Vitale lets it fly. Too strong. Rebound right to Facey. He goes right in.
That's the new and improved Kent Facey looking to be a scorer.
Galen Robinson. And there's a foul called out on the floor. Vitale will get charged with the contact. His third.
Well, Kent Facey in the early part of his career would have not even looked to shoot this. He would have pitched it back out. But now he is feeling more confident as an offensive player and just turns, takes his time. Great footwork over the top.
So Vitale's third foul. Bryma on the bench with 4. There's the only 2 players with foul trouble for the Huskies. Davis has got 3. Robinson has 3. Meyer has 3 for Houston. Gray has 3 points.
A real good look by Devin Davis. He drove it right down the lane, and the help came over and had great awareness to find Gray on the weak side.
23 for Rob Gray, the leading scorer in the American Conference regular season. Adams for 3. And he stares Rob Gray down all the way back down the court. They ran side by side down the court. Adams had eyes locked on Gray. Gray never even looked at him. Davis. Blocked. Bryma again.
Houston's been in this zone, and UConn's scheme is pretty simple. They're going to reverse the ball. They're going to set a ball screen at the top. Here comes Facey, flashing in the middle.
Knocked away by Meyer, off of Facey's leg and out of bounds. Turnover.
Jalen Adams has stepped up big all season long for Kevin Ollie. Coming off that ball screen, Rob Gray got there a little late. 2 of the best right there, having some fun. It's your choice. Let me see what you can get this now or later. Now or later. You can get this now or later. Now or later. It's your choice. They call me the game saver. Bitch, y'all with the game breaker. In my way, I'ma shake 'em. Baby.
The emotions, the stress of a game with so much on the line for both teams. Kevin Ollie and the UConn Huskies trying to extend their season. Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars trying to continue a run that might propel them into a spot in the NCAA tournament. 3 minutes, 27 seconds to go. A 7-point ball game here at the XL Center in Hartford. The last time that Houston led this ball game, the score was 22-21. With 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first half. There you see the score line now and the time remaining in regulation in this ball game.
Now Jalen Adams starting to feel very confident offensively, and Houston understands what the deal is. And mano a mano, Rob Gray and Jalen Adams, it's all pretty good competition.
It's good stuff for sure. Drive and the bucket. And a whistle, no foul called, but a player down hard, and that is Galen Robinson. He took a hard spill face down after the bucket.
Well, again, Galen Robinson did a nice job on the switch. He saw that Kenton Facey was on him on the perimeter and took him off the bounce. And absolutely, there's contact there. That's something. Christian DePaul came over from the weak side, and it's got to be, in my estimation, a block. The towel was inside the restricted area, and there was absolutely contact there on the shot.
Nothing called, and so UConn ball in a 5-point game. Houston now trying to apply some pressure in the front court. On the inbounds, and the Huskies able to bring it across the timeline.
Well, Kelvin Sampson instructing his team just to be solid on this possession. They don't need to gamble, they just need to be ready to play the pick and roll at the end of the clock, because here it comes with Adams at the top.
Casey steps out, now steps back. Adams spins. Outside to Jackson. Got it for three.
Jalen Adams again, a perfect decision.
Gray drives the lane and gets the two.
Houston again struggling to defend the pick and roll. They did a good job corralling Adams, but he got into the gap, created an open opportunity in the corner. And watch this, at the end of the clock, you see Adams kind of surveying the territory. He draws this two, and then the second defender, and Dotson gets caught. Creeps up just a little bit too far, and Jackson, just a nice ability to slide into that corner, and here Ray with the answer.
Found a little slice of daylight in the lane. So Wes Van Beck called for the foul on the way up the court. And Adams' free throw rattles home. Almost time to fill out your NCAA tournament brackets. Get all the help you need with 24 hours of bracket coverage like you've never seen before. It's ESPN's Tournament Challenge Marathon, starting Monday at 7. And the lead is 8 for the Huskies, and Kevin Ollie calls a timeout. Jalen Adams with 20 points, 16 of them in this second half. Well, the sophomore from Roxbury, Mass, just outside of Boston, has been the leader of his team for much of the second part of this game.
Well, we've talked about the last couple weeks, he's been playing with that injured ankle, and last night it was really bothering him. He played 39 minutes, but he didn't have that explosion. But the miracle of medicine tonight, he has played with a bounce in his step. Maybe just the big stage and what's at stake, because Jalen Adams, he's got a little hop to his step, even when the clock's not ticking.
So there's the situation. 2:14 to go. And an 8-point lead for UConn. Trying to find a way to get on another magical conference tournament run and steal a bid into the NCAA tournament. First, they have to survive these last 2 minutes and upset Houston. The Cougars trying to rally back and get a third win this season over the Huskies. Ray looking at his options. Finds Davis cutting. Grima got a hand on it, but a foul called. Jalen Adams gets called for the foul.
There's again excellent defense by UConn. Davis found a way to get into the lane. I don't see much there. Bryman came over, though, and he has just been a force at the rim.
So here's Devin Davis, the junior from Indianapolis. Rounding out on the first. Pressure moment, and he missed them both. Chance to get points while the clock was stopped for the Cougars.
And now you know what's going to happen here, Allen. This guy right here with the ball, he is going to take his time. This clock is going to run down inside of 5. He's going to run the pick and roll from the top.
Double team on Adams. Gets it out to Purvis. Knocked out of his hands and a turnover. Armani Brooks gets the ball, throws it away. And a dive to the floor. But there's going to be a foul called diving into the pile, I believe.
Result, Steve came from the other side of the floor. And this
Watch 15, Devin Davis.
This is just a scrum for the loose ball, and everybody's on the floor for it. He calls Davis for undercutting Christian Vital.
Playing the man and not playing the ball, I guess. Well,
I think he was playing the ball. It's just the man was in the way. And just great extra effort on both ends. But Houston did a good job. They came out and forced the issue with the trap at the top. But the bounce in the second half seems to have gone UConn's way just because they're a touch more aggressive and confident.
8 of... Double check that, wrong line. 13 of 15 from the free throw line in this game are the Huskies. And around and out. Robinson falls down. And a tied up ball. Vital got 2 hands in there. It stays with Houston. But as the final minute 23 in this one runs out, now the possession arrow will belong to UConn.
Well, Galen Robinson's just trying to make something happen very quickly, and UConn is closing the door on dribble penetration. He's giving a lot of help in the lane.
Robinson with high glass. And a quick timeout, Kelvin Sampson trying to find a way to help his team overcome this 6-point deficit in the final minute 15. And a technical foul won't help things here. His team needs to survive and advance for any hope of the NCAA tournament to continue.
Galen Robinson's just trying to will his team back in the game. And again, that was a very good movement off the right hand, off the window. Christian Vital played very good defense. Houston is running out of time. They're going to have to extend the D now and look for a quick trap.
Joe Lunardi says with a loss, Houston is off the list for an at-large consideration. And of course, with a loss, they'll be out of a chance for an automatic bid as well. How about Robinson with the pat on his back to the coach? It's all right, coach, we'll get him.
Well, Kelvin hasn't liked some of the calls down the stretch. He feels like his guards, when they're driving to the basket, are getting hand-checked, and there's been contact at the rim with nothing called, and he voiced his displeasure.
Minute 15 to go. Huskies inbound. Gray commits the foul. That's his first. Nerve-wracking time. I can't imagine as a coach what it's like.
Well, when you look at the clock and you see the door closing on your season, you know, clearly Houston will be in the postseason, but you have greater aspirations, that's for sure, because Houston's had an excellent season, but you know, they took UConn's best punch tonight. UConn came ready to play. They were energized by the crowd, and I think this very confident just getting a win last night, getting through that game. And there's some tight moments at the end of the USF game, but I think they came out with a lot of confidence, building off Purvis's offensive explosion last night. But tonight it's been a combination of both their offense and really tight defense.
Robinson hit the bottom of the rim, got his own rebound, blocked. Tied up ball, possession arrow, UConn.
Galen Robinson, he's trying to do everything on his own, and that time probably would have been better served to drive and then dish it off.
Minute to go. And a quick foul by Van Beck. That'll be his fourth. Clock stopped with just under 60 seconds remaining in the ball game. The winner gets a matchup with Cincinnati in the conference semifinals tomorrow. That's the second of the semis. The first at 3 Eastern on ESPN2. The second at 6 Eastern on ESPN2. The first featuring top seed SMU against Taco Fall, BJ Taylor, and UCF.
Excellent matchups here in Connecticut, and the way UConn played tonight, they will feel very confident that they will play a much better game than they did last weekend against Cincinnati.
Dotson, short, front iron. UConn rebound. And Alani Brooks fouls Jalen Adams. And a chance to push the lead back into double digits for the floor leader for UConn.
Well, we talked about Kevin Allen. He was smiling yesterday morning, thinking about kind of a new season, and this is why. They had a lot of confidence in this team. Number one, that they had a complete lineup, or as complete as they could have with the 3 players that are out for the year. But down the stretch, guys like Christian Vitale out and Vance Jackson out, but they are ready to make a run, and they played like they can last the weekend if they play like this tomorrow.
Think about it.
It'll be a tough task against Cincinnati, but we'll have a big, energized building tomorrow night.
Dotson gets fouled on the way to the bucket. You think about this, Tim. We talked about all the success that UConn has had in this conference tournament. On the floor now, Jalen Adams, Kenton Facey are on the team now. Rodney Purvis and Amita Brima all have experienced and been parts of those tournament runs. So they all came into this with the belief that, hey, we've done this before. We can do it again.
Well, the key tonight was their defense. There's no doubt about it, and what they did with Damian Dotson. But right there, Nina Brima and Purvis just kind of building off his confidence from last night. But in my opinion, Jalen Adams coming up big offensively got him over the top.
Houston does not set up to foul. There's a huge St. Patrick's Day parade in downtown Hartford tomorrow. And then the Huskies are going to play in a conference semifinal. Think the building will be a little rowdy for the second of those 2 games? I say yes. And the exclamation point on the night. And a foul called.
Well, Rodney Purvis has played like a new person this weekend. Off the bounce, his traditional 3s from the corner, and just a lot of toughness. And don't forget about his defense on Damian Dotson. He was tremendously tough tonight on one of the best offensive players in this conference.
Dotson has 14 now on the night. Purvis has 18, Adams 23, Jackson and Vitale a dozen each for the Huskies. Rob Gray with 25 for Houston. Robinson with 17, Dotson with 14, and Purvis, the senior, taken out of the game. and a chance to get great appreciation from this crowd. Houston's NCAA tournament dream will be halted in Hartford by the UConn Huskies, whose quarterfinal tournament magic happens again.
Just great leadership by the guards of Connecticut tonight, but give Kevin Ollie a lot of credit as well. He had this team prepared and schemed and ready to play defense against one of the best offensive teams in this conference.
Well, Damian Dotson, Bert Colley, Kyle Meyer, seniors on the Houston team. They'll get a chance to play in the NIT, but their hopes of making the NCAA tournament likely ended tonight, according to Joe Lunardi, by the UConn Huskies. So there's the bracket. Dave O'Brien, Doris Burke here to take you through the weekend. SMU, UCF at 3 Eastern, and then Cincinnati and UConn, the second of the semifinals in this American Conference. So Huskies 74, Houston 65, your final. To the studio in a moment, then we're back here in Hartford, where Jalen Adams will join us. Huskies win. Off to Brendan Fitzgerald and Adrian Branch. For Tim Welsh, Alan Bestwick. Goodbye for now from Hartford.
Thanks very much, guys. What a game for the Huskies. The 6th seed, the lower seed, but the home team in Hartford. Alongside Adrian Branch, I'm Brendan Fitzgerald. This is College Basketball Live. We will get you back out to the XL Center to hear more from Jalen Adams and the guys after quite a win for UConn in the quarterfinals.
Beautiful, beautiful. Bob McKillop, who won a basketball game, calls it the beautiful game. When you see the backcourt taking care of business, they collectively, with Purvis and Adams, shot a collective 12 for 23. That was outstanding. As a team, they shot 54%. And Houston didn't go down quietly. This was a desperation game for them. But that home crowd, that 6-man for UConn, that UConn pride, Kevin Ollie, that was a fantastic job against a spirited Houston team.
All right, you say Kevin Ollie, you don't want to coach against him at this time of year.
No, because you won a national championship and you don't think you can do it. When you win a national championship, you know you can do it.
All right, so UConn evens its record. They are now 500 on the season. Their last losing season was 1986-87. They can avoid that talk for now. Back to Alan Bestwick, Tim Welsh, and a special guest.
All right, Brendan, thanks. That special guest was Jalen Adams, who led his team tonight with 23 points, 5 assists, 18 of those points in the second half. Your game maybe started a little slow on the scoring line, but wow, what a game for you. What are you thinking right now?
We advanced, and we definitely get a shot to play against Cincinnati, who is a great team who beat us twice in the regular season. So we're just anxious to play against that team. We know it's going to be a dogfight, but we're looking forward to it.
Jalen, tonight it looked like you were Jalen Adams' pre-ankle injury. How is your ankle, and how were you able to get into the lane and make so many good plays offensively?
I think my adrenaline just took over, and I think I just played with a lot of heart. I think our team we started letting the game slip away coming out the half, and I just knew I had to make plays in order for us to get the W, so I just tried to get in the lane and create for others, and they stepped up and made big shots.
Well, how special was it, though, playing in this building in the tournament? And there was a lot of emotion tonight, a lot of electricity in this building, but a lot of smiles at the end by you and Rodney Purvis.
Yeah, definitely. We worked so hard for this. We dealt with a lot this season, and just to get to the next round is huge. So we're thankful, and Coach Ollie did a great job coaching us.
A matchup again against Cincinnati in this tournament. An epic game last year. What do you remember about it?
It was a great game. It was tiring, a lot of overtimes, but hopefully it can make for a great one, but hopefully we get the W again.
This team has never failed to make the conference final in this tournament. Was that belief part of what happened tonight?
Yeah, definitely, and UConn just excels in March, so this is our time of the month, so hopefully we could get to the championship and get a W.
All right, Jalen, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep, sounds good.
Jalen Adams, starring for the UConn Huskies tonight. They will play Cincinnati in the second of the American Conference Tournament semifinals tomorrow. SMU and UCF in the opener, but the Huskies get the W tonight.
Alan, well done. Thanks very much. And Jalen Adams, well done. 23 points for the star for the Huskies. This time of year has been special for UConn, certainly.
Winning intangibles. You pay attention to detail. You have that little extra oomph. You heard about what they're coming up against with Cincinnati that beat them twice, but they're a different team because it's a different mindset. And the credibility of your coach kicks in this time of year. He has the credibility to say, guys, if you listen to me, if you play hard, you play smart, and you play efficient. They won all the major categories except for the turnovers. They had 14 turnovers and still were able to offset it by shooting 41% from the three-point line, and the enthusiasm from it, we could feel it from the studio.
Early thoughts on UConn and Cincinnati. What do you look for in
This is going to be a huge one right here. Again, momentum is everything. Both teams are playing with a chip on their shoulder. I'm going to be interested to see what can happen in the fast break category. Can the pace that UConn likes to play with, the six-man that they have right here, can they push the tempo and get easier baskets? Cincinnati showed me something in this game because they won the fast break battle. Their defense always travels. Both teams' defenses travel. But this will be a great matchup with Copain as well. Troy Copain, that's an outstanding guard, going against a first-team all-conference point guard where justifiably he thought he should be on there himself.
Last question on this one. It'll be 3 games in 3 days tomorrow when UConn takes on Cincinnati. What's the effect?
I'm not thinking about that. You throw that out. You heard what they already said. They weren't. Their feet aren't touching the ground. Winning feels good. Playing hard feels good. Executing the game plan when you're able to keep a Houston team where Gray was the only one that really got his points. He was the leading scorer in the conference. He played well, but Damian Dotson did not have a good game, 4 for 14. They needed his expertise. They didn't have that margin of error. It feels good when you can execute a game plan.
Sure
They're not going to feel that way. They're young
Especially
people,
when
man.
you're young like they are, certainly. It'll be 3 games in 3 nights for
feel
UConn
it.
tomorrow. Of course, they want to go 4 for 4 and win the American Conference Tournament for the auto bid. Let's look around at what else is happening in college basketball.